I'm Bob Sabakinis. Welcome to our program in a nutshell. Today our guest is Kurt Kimoni. Kurt is the Executive Director of the Lackawanna County Convention Visitor Bureau, and he's the former, let me see so I can pronounce this correctly and put it all out there. He's the former Vice President of Baseball Operations at the AAA affiliate of the New York Yankees, otherwise known as the Rail Riders and formerly the Scranton Red Barons. Kurt is a lifetime resident of Jessup, and I want to welcome him to our program. Kurt, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so very much. It's my pleasure.
I'm not sure where we want to begin because there's just two fascinating topics I see, baseball and tourism, which I guess is a combination.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Lackawanna County Convention Visitor Bureau, tell us about some of the great things that they do in promoting our area throughout northeastern Pennsylvania, throughout the country.
Sure. So essentially, the Visitors Bureau's mission is to market and sell Lackawanna County in an effort to enhance economic development and economic impact to the area. So when we have a large event, a concert, the Rail Riders, a large attraction like that, Montage right now, the economic impact is felt throughout Lackawanna County because they're ordering food, they have to source that, and our largest priority is hotel rooms. And that industry and the impact of that on Lackawanna County is enormous. So we do marketing and sales. We push and promote all the great things that are happening in Lackawanna County, and then we also actively try to sell and bring in events, meetings, events, and activities that not only are great for our local people to get to experience, but that also can generate revenue for our local businesses.
It's one of the things that I find most fascinating about northeastern Pennsylvania is just all the great tourist attractions that we have. I mean, obviously we're in the health situation with the pandemic and the COVID and everything, but hopefully we'll be turning the corner, as they say, with that, and we'll have that opportunity to get the tourists to come here and bring that economic driving force here of the hotel rooms, the restaurants, and everything else. But can you tell us a little bit about some of these attractions that you're proud of that we have?
Absolutely. So a lot of times, you know, and we're out spreading the good word of Lackawanna County all the time, within the county itself and outside of it. And a lot of times, you know, I don't think everybody in Lackawanna County even realizes everything we have. And people outside are usually surprised to hear at just the plethora of activities and different things that we can do here. So you have, you know, the AAA team of the New York Yankees in a beautiful stadium, doing not only the AAA games, but different types of games and tournaments most of the year. You have a Live Nation concert venue that brings in national acts. It's fantastic, including two very large festivals that generate a ton of money. You don't have to like the music to be appreciative of the economic impact that brings to Lackawanna County. Right up the road from that, you have Montage Mountain Ski Resort that also has a water park in the summer, and those are some major attractions. But then you have a national park. There's not that many of those, and we have that on top of everything I already mentioned. So we have Steamtown National Historic Site. We have the Trolley Museum. It's so much fun. You put kids on that trolley, especially when they're having their character rides, it's fantastic. And you can take the trolley ride up to the stadium on a Sunday and watch a baseball game and just really have an exciting time. And then you shift gears, you mentioned COVID. Right now, and since the beginning of this, what's called adventure tourism, you know, the great outdoors and getting outside and creating your own adventure, we have a wealth of adventure tourism opportunities for people, from ATV riding to the trails that you can go walking on, hiking in the woods. We have unbelievable views that you can go find and take advantage of all of our parks. We have outstanding parks. No matter what season of the year you come, you can have a great time with your family there. Go see the treehouse at Naog. There's always something going on. And that we haven't even mentioned any of our annual events, which are just amazing all over Lackawanna County.
I'm holding this booklet here and I'm looking at it, and it's very impressive. It's the Lackawanna County 2021 Visitor Guide for the county. I believe this came out at the beginning of the new year in January, and you know, we'll have a chance to go through a little of this, but it's amazing besides the tourist attractions, but hotels in our area, the fine accommodations that we have, the great restaurants and everything.
Look, I have the greatest job because it's made very easy by the fact that we have all of these great events and attractions to offer, but then we also have unbelievable food, and I speak from experience. Lackawanna County, one of our greatest strengths, and we've really pushed it since I got involved with the Visitors Bureau 3 years ago, really talking that up, because we have a diversity of food, and you could come here and stay for a month and never eat at a chain restaurant and eat something different every day in Lackawanna County and just have unbelievable homemade food. And so we really try to push that. And then, like you said, the hospitality sector, the hotels, they do a really good job and they treat people very well. You always hear from visitors when they come here about the level of service and how friendly the people were at the attractions, at the hospitality, and at the restaurants. So that, I take a lot of pride in that. People come and want to see the attractions, or they have a conference or a meeting that they have to go to, but what I always end up hearing about is how great the people were. And I do, being from here, I take a lot of pride in that, and I appreciate that, because it's true. We have wonderful people here.
I look at our area, and of course it was a coal mining area, it was a garment industry, railroading and everything, and of course that time has come and gone and everything, but we've transformed ourselves in northeastern Pennsylvania to, I think, a tourist destination for the country, for the world.
We really have, and in order to market yourself or sell yourself as an area, it's important that you know and are honest with you know, about what you are. So predominantly, we're a weekend trip. You know, we're not looking for people from California to come here and stay a week like you would if you're going to Florida or someplace like that. But we are a great weekend trip. We are a trip that we market to bus tours coming out of Canada. Their final destination might be down south, but they love coming here for 2 days and getting to experience our history. We do a really, really good job of telling our story in Lackawanna County.
Yes, we do.
The coal mine tour, to me, is the greatest example of that. My grandfather worked in the coal mines. I have a similar background to a lot of people in Lackawanna County. My family went from a coal miner in Jessup and coal miner housing, in the company housing and shopping at the company store, to his sons having advanced college degrees, and by the second generation, you know, my brother and myself and my cousin. So we take a lot of pride in our history and the work ethic that comes out of this area, and the coal mine tour is just an unbelievable attraction. I highly suggest anyone local go to it. And crazily enough, and everyone's always surprised by this, it's our #1 Googled attraction in Lackawanna County. The thing people from outside the area are Googling. The Lackawanna Coal Mine Tour gets Googled more than anything, more than the stadium, more than the concerts. It's the coal mine tour, and they do a phenomenal job. And again, it goes to the people, because the tour guides are what carries that attraction, and they do a phenomenal job of it.
Kind of just following through on that, and still on the, I guess, the history of our area, and I'm looking at, I mean, you mentioned earlier we have Steamtown National Historic Site, so we have a national park here.
Mm-hmm.
Through the state, we have the Anthracite Heritage Museum, near McDade Park. We have the Scranton Iron Furnaces, and then of course, as you were saying, on a county level, we have the Electric City Trolley Museum, the trolley ride itself, the coal mine operation. It's just amazing, though, that you have 3 forms of government all bringing tourist attractions to us here.
Without question, and there's times where it's difficult navigating those waters when you're trying to put something that kind of intertwines all of that together.
Government bureaucracy.
It's lots of fun. That being said, individually we work with each one seamlessly. The people that run those, you know, we're not approaching Congress to work with Steamtown.
Right.
There are real people that work there every day and do a phenomenal job. They do everything they can to try to bring people in and support our community. Same thing with the Trolley Museum. Those folks do a great job, and the Heritage Museum. And it's not just those. Those are the ones we always think about, but even with our arts, we marry it to our history with the locations like the Cultural Center,
Yes, the Scranton Cultural
the
Center.
Ritz Theater. I mean, you go there and they're doing wonderful shows and kids shows and professional shows, but you're going into the historic Ritz Theater and it brings our history along for the ride with it. So anywhere you go in Lackawanna County, you can have kind of a historical teaching moment, but also have a lot of fun.
And what I think what's so interesting is that we could do this throughout the course of the year. I mean, you could do this in winter. You can enjoy Montage Mountain, as you were saying, for skiing.
Absolutely.
And for all the things there, the trails and hiking and everything.
If you look at the description of us on social media or anywhere else that I'm writing, it usually starts off with Lackawanna County as a 4-season destination. And it really is. In the spring, you start up with baseball, summer to concerts and the water park and a whole host of other events. Being from Jessup, obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention St. Ubaldo Day. My mother is Irish, so she would want me to mention St. Patrick's Day Parade. So there's every season, and like moving into the fall, Robas attracts people from all over, and rightfully so. The place is just phenomenal. But we have great activities and events to offer year-round, and each one of our communities in Lackawanna County add to that. It's not, we don't say we only promote Scranton. Scranton's obviously the largest city in Lackawanna County, so certainly it gets its fair share of attention from us, but we look to everywhere in Lackawanna County to try to find what we can use to bring people in. And we typically concentrate 3 to 4 hours out pre-COVID. We would look to, we do a lot of marketing into Baltimore, Washington, D.C., all parts of New York, some of the more populous areas in New Jersey, Philadelphia, we get a lot of folks from. And depending on what it is we're talking about. So the Electric City cycling event that started pre-COVID was an amazing event. We pushed a lot of that into the Philadelphia area where we know there's a large cycling community. We got people to come up, and Scranton Tomorrow did an amazing job with that event. We just try to be as helpful as we can and participate.
I look at our area, and I continue to talk about the history of our area, but we look at our area and the ethnic diversity and how everyone celebrated their ethnic heritage and everything. And you mentioned Ubaldo, La Festa, of course, in downtown Scranton, the Italian Festival, the St. Patrick's Day Parade, and of course a lot of these events have been altered by our COVID situation, but they'll come back again and they still will be strong again.
Without question, we will get back to a place where we're having all of those events, and I feel terribly for everyone that's involved in running and operating those events, because they're all being faced with struggles and difficulties and making difficult choices. Like I said, I'm heavily involved with St. Ubaldo Day in Jessup, and it's just, it's terrible to have to look at it and come to the decision, like we did last year, to not have our event, because it means so much. Right. And again, it's all over. You have an Italian festival in Old Fort, you have the Greek food festival, we have a Lebanese food festival. We're really good at food festivals, we're really good at food. But yeah, everybody's right now dealing with the same thing, not only across this country, but worldwide. And tourism everywhere is taking one of the hardest hits that COVID has to deal. But again, perspective is important. Like you said, it'll come back. We're trying to do everything we can to support all of our partners and all of the businesses in Lackawanna County that deal with tourism and hospitality, and stress safety and stress doing what we can to try to help mitigate the problems. Because at the end of the day, we have a lot of people that have unfortunately lost loved ones or lost their lives to this. So we have to have perspective, but we'll be back, and all of those events hopefully will come back and be bigger and better than ever.
But in the meantime, you still have Montage Mountain operating, having probably a phenomenal year with the ability to be outdoors and do some recreation in a nice social distancing atmosphere.
Montage Mountain, I mean, it's always fantastic to have Montage Mountain up there in the winter, don't get me wrong, but this year, especially during COVID, they really have been a huge boost to the hospitality industry in Lackawanna County. They're bringing people in from all over. People are really want to get out. They want to get outside, they want to do something, but people do want to do things that are safe. And Montage has really gotten out of the box with some of the stuff they're doing. They're operating at a totally different way than they normally do. And they're getting creative and making it fun for people, and you're outside, and most people when they're skiing have face coverings on anyway. And the snow doesn't hurt, right? So I won't complain as I'm shoveling more this year than in most years about the snow, because it's helping, and Montage is doing wonderful. You go up there, especially on the weekends, the parking lots are packed, the hotels are getting some guests, and it's really been helpful.
And we could almost even just kind of segue right into when we're moving into spring and then summer, and then we have the Circle DriveIn, which has transformed itself, as we were saying earlier, just from showing some movies to a concert destination to events up there. And would you like to elaborate a little bit on that?
Absolutely. So, and we need to support businesses like this that are really expanding and trying to do more and bring more into the community. So during COVID, obviously we didn't have any shows at the Live Nation venue, and I can't wait until we can get back up there. But the drive-in is a location where you could do things in a different way and be socially distant. You're kind of encompassed and housed in your vehicle and your parking area, and they're doing a lot of things with precautions. Dave Castelli, the gentleman that runs the Circle now, is on a national COVID task force, so they take it very seriously, but they're having concerts. This year they're going to be doing film festivals, they're going to be doing music festivals, along with a great place to go see a movie, and they have one of the best flea markets that you can find. So they are one of the examples of a community business that during COVID adapted and is doing a really good job of creating. And hopefully, as we move past COVID, some of those businesses that were able to do that will only be stronger coming out the other side of this.
So let's switch over to probably a topic that you really love, baseball.
No question.
And just reading your bio a little bit, tell us a little bit about your background, what it was like being the vice president of operations with the Rail Riders, the Red Barons, and everything.
I have always been a baseball guy. Couldn't get enough playing baseball as a kid. Played up through high school at Valley View, played in college at the University of Scranton, and I just couldn't see not being involved with baseball in some way, shape, or form. So I got my master's degree at Temple, and then had resumes out and was looking at any baseball job in the United States, minor leagues, big leagues, you name it. And crazily enough, there was an opening with the Red Barons. My former boss, Jeremy Ruby, was moved up to the general manager spot at that time, and I was able to secure an operations position. And then over the course of 15 years, worked for the Red Barons, the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Yankees, the Rail Riders, got to do a lot of the design work. I was on the design team for the new stadium and the construction team with a lot of the people there. Just an amazing time. Got to work with pretty much every big name Yankee that has been around in the last decade or so. Yeah, for a baseball guy, it's a dream come true, And then I saw an opportunity where, I wasn't necessarily even thinking about stopping that. And when I saw the opening at the Visitors Bureau, I've dedicated myself outside of work to trying to help my community. That's always been a passion of mine, following in my father's footsteps and my godfather, who always were looking to see what they could do for whether it was the school district or the borough of Jessup or the community at large. And I just saw this as a way to marry what I've been doing and the skill set that I've tried to hone over the last 20 years of professional life, but also do something where I really thought we could market Lackawanna County better, and we could tell our story and be proud of it, and even try to raise almost the collective self-esteem of Lackawanna County, the residents here, because you hear all the time, there's nothing to do here, there's
a large booklet here of things to do.
And as a guy that was working every event at the stadium for 15 years, I knew there was a lot, but we sometimes almost get segregated out almost by school district, I think. So, when you're in the Valley View area, you don't necessarily know what's going on, in downtown Scranton on a weekend, or in Carbondale, or in another area. And we're just trying to kind of collectively get people to realize what's going on and help support across Lackawanna County all of the different events and attractions and restaurants, but then also bring people in from the outside. And it's working. Pre-COVID, we were moving in very much the right direction. The last 3 years, we were up close to 15% in hotel stays in Lackawanna County. It was steadily increasing, so we'll get back to doing that. It's a great place, and like I said, I get to tell people how great it is every day. It's an awesome job.
Well, you went from a baseball executive to a director of our county visitor bureau, so you have some good experience and I think a fun job, or 2 fun jobs.
I couldn't just sit in an office every day and hack away at the computer. So yeah, baseball stadium was my office for 15 years, and now, like I said, I'm out and about throughout the county, all the time, getting to meet with people and tell them about what a great place Lackawanna County is, and yeah, I'm very lucky.
Well, going back to baseball again, I look at the idea, and I'm sure a lot of our audience and everything is aware of this, but I mean, you just think of it. This is the AAA, the closest to Major League Baseball. These guys that are playing there eventually are going to end up in the major leagues. And we have an opportunity so close to us here, whether it was the Phillies at one point, the Red Barons, and now, of course, the Rail Riders, Wilkes-Barre Scranton Yankees.
Yeah, and you're right. And I think sometimes when you're used to something, you could take it for granted a little bit, right? And so when you're sitting there and Aaron Judge is playing at PNC Field, 7 days in a row, and he's going to be back next week, we might not really appreciate what we have, but take a look at a Yankees game. I mean, and there's plenty of guys on other teams that played here and have changed organizations, but take a look at a Yankees game when they come back on the S Network. Most of those guys have played in Lackawanna County. And that's incredible to think of that. And our kids, and by the way, for drastically less money than you can spend to go to New York, you can go see the best of the best, the future stars, guys that had great careers and are trying to work their way back. And then obviously when we have someone that's injured and is working a rehab, they'll come to the stadium as well. And you're getting the best of the best from every team. So it's really fun, and you can't ask for a better atmosphere than PNC Field right now. The place is gorgeous. You have the mountain in the background, so it's beautiful. You don't have to like baseball to have a great time at PNC Field. There's awesome food. Grab a beer or another beverage of your choice. You can walk around the entire ballpark. There's a lot of people that wouldn't sit down once during the game. They'd be walking around enjoying all of the atmosphere. You have great music. The video boards, the digital boards are impressive. The whole outfield, right field wall is a digital board. So the entertainment aspect is definitely there. And if you're a kid, I mean, there's a kids area. They got the bouncy house that looks like Champ. You have all of the mascots. They're playing games in between innings down on the field. It really is an asset to Lackawanna County, and it's not something everyone has.
Yeah, and we are lucky just again, for all the tourist destinations we have. So we could attract fans, Major League Baseball fans, to come here and see AAA baseball, whether it's watching the Yankees AAA affiliate or the teams that are playing against them.
Absolutely, and it's also, when we look at the economic impact side, it's a huge boost hotel-wise even when you think about it. You have all these visiting teams coming in. So each one of them has a 25-man roster, 25 players, plus whoever might be on the team that's injured, all of their coaches. So you're booking all of those rooms for 70 home games a year. That in and of itself brings in a ton of money into Lackawanna County. And then all of the food they sell to the fans is purchased. People have to work at those hotels. People have to work those jobs. So the full-time job equivalency coming out of a fully functioning Rail Riders organization is a huge boost to Lackawanna County. Same thing with the Live Nation concert venue. We have the largest and best concert promotion in the world in Live Nation. And they have a venue in Lackawanna County that brings in national recording acts. You don't get this type of stuff everywhere. So all of that is right there for us. And then and a ski resort, which is fantastic. All of that draws in people. All of that brings money into Lackawanna County. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, tourism is when people come to our area, use up very few of our services, and the only way you know they were there when they leave is by the money that they've left behind. And we just try to maximize that. We try to give them and show them that if you're coming for a concert, you might as well stay the night, and the next day enjoy yourself at the water park or at a baseball game. Have some amazing dinners. Go out on the wine trail, which is a phenomenal asset to Lackawanna County. We have amazing wineries that make homemade wine. It's delicious. We just started the pizza trail. We have such a diversity of styles, and anywhere you go in Lackawanna County, they have their signature pizza place that they love. So we've put that together in a pizza trail. And we know that if we can convert somebody from coming for the day to spending the night or staying for the weekend, the economic impact is going to go up. So that's basically our mission. And like I said, it's a fun job because I get to talk to people about how they're going to enjoy their weekends. People love talking about that. And when you're planning events, you know, our location is so great. We can draw people into your event from major metropolitan areas.
We are so close to New York City.
Absolutely, but you can
Philadelphia.
hold your event here. We have amazing venues, but you can hold it here and hold your event, whether it's a sports tournament, a conference, whatever it might be. You could do it at an affordable rate, but still draw from those major metropolitan areas. So that's really, you know, the angle that we use a lot. And we have phenomenal athletic facilities. We just signed a big basketball tournament that'll be coming in September 11th weekend. That same weekend we have a huge national beard competition coming up to Montage Mountain. So yeah, we'll go out and go after any event we can find.
Another aspect that I also find interesting is when I hear some of the tourists talk about the architecture of, especially downtown Scranton. Because I think we were such and I hate to use the term, but an economically depressed area for a certain time in history, that these buildings were still able to maintain themselves and be there and not be demolished for redevelopment or something. So I think we have tourists that come and appreciate just the architecture in downtown Scranton.
We absolutely do, and it's actually, my head of sales, Alexa Peregrine, was going to love that you asked that question, because she pushes that a lot, and we're trying to work that angle into some kind of a tour, self-guided map, something along those lines. But we do have amazing architecture. A lot of the churches have just phenomenal buildings. The cultural center is amazing. And they have, for the most part, been kept up. We do have some work to do, and there's some improvements and things that we need to really invest in to make sure that it's here for a long time. But yeah, it's really remarkable. And listen, you can't talk about architecture without bringing up, I mentioned it before, the treehouse at Naog Park. You know, those types of things, they attract folks. You know, one of our biggest, not to jump off architecture, we can go back to it, but one of the things that still is one of the best icebreakers we have when we're out trying to sell is The Office. It hasn't been on, a new episode hasn't been shot in how many years, and yet it still is a huge attraction for Lackawanna County. It's been very, very good to us.
That may have to be a separate show when we talk about how many times Scranton has been referenced in movies, and I think it was Home Alone. I mean, just
it is
so many
major
airport movies. Yes,
Yep.
so many major movies that Scranton, Lackawanna County is referenced and everything. But I also want to take just a quick look at the idea of our county commissioners and how, through the years, that their leadership of investing in, say, the trolley system, in the coal mine tour, and just investing has made our area so successful in drawing tourists here.
Without question. And, you know, working with the commissioners, I'm there now 3 years, so it's been 2 different sets. The support is just phenomenal. And really understand the economic impact that comes from tourism and hospitality, and doing what they need to support and try to bolster and expand that. And then, quite honestly, our board, the Visitors Bureau Board of Directors, does a great job. We have an eclectic group that represent every aspect of tourism and hospitality, different sectors. And they do a really, really good job of seeing the big picture and not just focusing on the sector they come from, which can sometimes be difficult when you're trying to put a collaboration together. And they do a really good job of it. And there's a lot of planning that goes into, on the county side, the different attractions that they're responsible for, such as the Trolley Museum. And there are things and ways that we can keep and continue to grow those, not only maintain them, but grow them. Both the coal mine tour, the Trolley Museum. You know, I would love, hopefully someday, to see some track expansion, so those rides can get even bigger and better. And then, you know, developing around the coal mine to make the area outside of it more of an attraction, whether it's a coal miners village type scenario or just, you know, whatever we end up with. Those are ways that we can expand and keep getting better. But you're 100% right. We have an appreciation, especially when it comes to our history. But there has always been an appreciation and understanding of tourism and hospitality, the impact that it has, and the work that needs to be done to maintain that, because none of this happens easily. I have the easy part. I just get to tell people about it. The people actually doing the work to put on these events and maintain these attractions, they do a phenomenal job.
Well, I want to thank you, Kurt Camoni, the Executive Director of the Lackawanna County Convention Visitor Bureau, for being our guest today. To our viewers, you get a chance, take a look at this guide that just shows all the great things that are happening here in northeastern Pennsylvania, here in Lackawanna County. Thank you for all that you do in promoting tourism and making us a destination throughout the United States and the world even.
I appreciate it very much. I have to say, both with that guide and I appreciate the compliment of all the good work I do. I have a phenomenal staff. They work really hard. They have extremely high standards, and we put out that book and we do the work that we do, and we enjoy it every day. So I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk about it with you.
Thank you, Kurt Camoni, for being our guest today. I'm Bob Stavikanis. In a nutshell, please tune in again.